CEO, welcome to BRICS Africa Channel. I'm sure you're excited and happy that at least you got the thinking heads in one room, and more than dialoguing, sounds as if you have a clear plan. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling excited. This time around, we said, let's bring in the developers themselves. They're the ones who are actually feeling the pain. They're the ones who are actually trusting to go out there and seek capital so that they can actually develop. And I was happy because we got the private sector industry, but we also got the city. I mean, the mayor sat here through the entire breakfast, but he has his senior team here who work with these approval processes on a daily basis. So it's more than a dialogue for me, and I think we came out of it with tangibles. Let's have a bomb squad, like the mayor put it. But in there, let's have specific outcomes. How are we going to now create a pipeline register so that we understand which projects are having what bottlenecks? But I think the second thing that I picked up, which was critical, is that also from a private sector or a developer point of view, we can't engage the city when we're about to develop. In actual fact, early enough in the planning process, the city should be brought in so that they themselves understand what is it that they need to put in place to ensure that they can enable. But the third thing that I also picked up is you can't treat everyone the same. You almost want to have that segmentation process where we're saying how, which ones are the high risk and high yielding, projects that we have, and what sort of an approval process do we need now to expedite for them so that at least they can unlock economic development and economic activities.
It sounded to me that developers are not part of the IDP processes. How would you close that gap?
It's an interesting observation that you've made, because I would have thought that, by virtue of them being citizens as well, some of them who are local, they will be part of the IDP process. I have no idea whether the IDP process does allow for businesses or for sectors of the economy to engage, so that ahead of time they understand where the city is and where the city is going from an infrastructure, but also spatial development and other things. It will be an interesting thing that I think the bomb squad should actually tackle, to say how early enough in the city's planning processes, not just technical planning, but just IDP processes, as a whole. I mean, communities get involved. I think there's no reason for, sector engagements, to be factored in as part of the IDP if it's not already done.
Also, what I didn't pick up was more of like on the R&D side, because processes, each and every, the perceptive idea of like people are planning in silos, there doesn't seem to be research and development that meets. One would have expected maybe also to have invited people like from the research unit side of the state to be part of these processes so that things can be moved forward, because the mayor can't always call people and things happen overnight.
I think a lot of planning work and a lot of processes look good on paper, and that's what I'm picking up. In a sense that you have the entities of the cities. When one of the questions was asked, what is it that you're going to do? It turns out that each entity is already engaged in a program to engage directly with the developers.
Sure.
So you can clearly see that whilst the planning process, there's an integrated way of planning the IDP processes and the likes. Still, when the entities go back, they tend to look at what is it in my sphere that I need to actually unlock, as opposed to, okay, now we understand we're dealing with one client, which is a developer. They would need something from Joburg Water. They're going to need something from, City Power. They're going to need something from city planning. So how do we then come together, to ensure that it's sort of creating that one-stop shop, within the city that would enable the investor or the developer to actually have that one touch point and everything gets resolved. So I don't know whether our planning processes just look good on paper, and when we, from an execution point of view, are able to actually bring this thing together. But I think I'm encouraged today that at least it came out, even for us as government officials. You begin to see, oh, okay, in fact, we're working in silo. In fact, if we actually pull it together, we run a high propensity to actually win. So I think today, was a morning well spent.
It's an interesting one because I think one of the risks that I picked up is a question of skills development and the possible risk of losing planners, qualified or seasoned planners that used to make things run smoothly for years, and they seem to be going to other cities. How can the GGDA possibly assist that you keep those skills within these departments of the city?
Well, let's face it, when you and it happens with any professional, when you work in an environment which makes you feel like there's no agility, and that environment to actually deliver what you know best in your profession, and that to unlock the opportunities that exist as fast as you could. That can be frustrating as well. But I like the fact that everybody was talking about, let's digitize our systems. Let's also look at the policies. Where policies are not working, let's bring in new policies that would enable the work to happen. And I believe any employee, any profession, when you work in that environment where you're saying, we're running in circles, and like for instance, an approval that should take you 90 days takes you 18 months, you tend to feel terrible yourself as a professional. So I really am looking forward to some of the modernization work that they're doing as a city to ensure that at least at the press of a button they can understand end to end where things are, and in a much more integrated manner.
CEO, thank you for joining us on BRICS Africa Channel.
Thank you so much for having me.